Hello, this is Tipsee Teacher with video number 3. Tipsee Teacher ways to start the school year. So we'll go ahead and get started with some much needed advice or tips for you to use for your school year to start off on a positive note. Now these tips can either be for brand new teachers or those going to another campus or just some who might need to share with someone else. Tip number 1, familiarize yourself with the campus. Look for these particular places. Number 1, know where the office is. Get to know who the secretary is. Locate the library. Meet the librarian. Locate the cafeteria. Locate the nurse's office, not just for the students, but yourself as well. Look for restrooms as well, staff restrooms, and those where the students will be using that are closer to your classroom. Continued on tip number 1. Number 7, locate the workroom. Check for copying machines, butcher paper, laminate, etc. 8, look to see where the staff mailboxes are. Number 9, location to pick up your students. Could be in the morning, before school, after school. Maybe you pick them up after recess, morning duty. Depends on how your campus does it. And then the best one to have on your side is, of course, your custodians. Tip number 2, ask about routines and or procedures that are particular to your campus. Look at number 1, lunch. Do you have an assigned table? Do you have a designated entrance and exit for the lunch line? Number 2, do you have morning duty, lunch duty, and do you have a particular dismissal duty? Do teachers have to report to a certain location? Or at some schools, sometimes once the bell rings, well, the kids hit that pavement running to get home. So those are good things for you to ask. If you don't want to ask administrators, ask other teachers on your team or those people that you know will be receptive to your questions. Tip number 2 continued. Workroom procedures. First one, do you need a code to make copies? Do you have to provide your own paper? Do you have a certain number of clicks as far as number of actual copies you can make that you're allowed to make for maybe the 6 weeks or 9 weeks grading period or the actual cycle that you have in your school? When do you get to make copies? Do you get to make them before school, after school, during your conference time? Or do you have a sign-in sheet? Or is your campus so fortunate to have parent volunteers? Tip number 3, the classroom. Where is your classroom located in the school? Is it upstairs, on the lower level, obviously? If it's downstairs, are you towards the front of the school in a particular unit or a section for like maybe first grade, kinder, pre-K wing? Are you divided into particular wings, or are you just located in a certain part of the school? Number 2, do the students report to your classroom first thing in the morning? Do you pick them up somewhere else for etc.? Could be the gym, the cafeteria, etc. Or number 3, does your school have students come and sit outside of your classroom and wait for you to get them when you're ready to start your day? So those are the tips here for the classroom. And I believe that's probably going to wrap it up for this time. So if you notice, we're just going to review real quick. Tip number 3, things that you should do for your classroom. Tip number 2 was ask about particular routines and or procedures for your particular campus. For example, lunch, morning duty, lunch duty, dismissal duty. Tip number 1, familiarize first of all yourself with the campus, because remember, the students are probably going to have questions for you, and you're going to want to have questions for yourself as to where you're going to need to look for these places. And then, of course, hopefully that you will use these tips to help you get off to a wonderful start to this 2017-2018 school year. Remember to always start on a positive note, and remember that you can make a very positive change in your students' lives. So, this is going to be video number 3 for Tipsee Teacher Ideas, ways to start the school year off on a positive note. With that, I tell you thank you so much for being part of this video segment. If you do like what you're seeing, please put on there the like button or share with other teachers, because sometimes, what makes us good teachers is just sharing simple ideas that don't cost us anything, that aren't expensive, but they give us a lifetime of rewards in the long run. All right, this is Tipsee Teacher. Best of luck to you always. And remember, like Dory always says, just keep swimming. Bye.